Are the ReSound Vivia hearing aids worth your attention in 2026? In today's video, we're breaking down size, comfort, connectivity, and of course, sound quality. A real and honest review. Let's dive in. My name is Dario. I'm a doctor of audiology, and I've helped hundreds of people in the Toronto area to achieve better hearing and solve complex cases of hearing loss. And in today's video, we're going to look at the ReSound Vivia hearing aid. Now, in the past, I have fit many patients with ReSound hearing aids, including the ReSound Vivia. And those have been on either patients who have never worn a hearing aid for the first time, those who have worn previous generations of ReSound hearing aids like the 3D, the One, the Omnias, even the Nexias, or from a different hearing aid manufacturer. I think it's in my wheelhouse to give this a really honest review. Now, ReSound is making some really bold claims about this hearing aid. The world's best hearing and noise, the most efficient dedicated DNN chip, and the smallest rechargeable AI hearing aid on the market. Now, before we dive deeper, make sure you like this video, subscribe to our channel, and share this video with someone who's wearing ReSound hearing aids or who's thinking about hearing aids. Now, let's start with where the ReSound Vivia sits in the lineup. Now, the ReSound Vivia is available across 4 levels of technology. We have our entry, our mid, advanced, and premium level technologies. This allows the ReSound Vivia to be accessible across a wide range of budgets, but also listening concerns. This means that patients aren't locked in at only one price point. We have the flexibility to fit this product on a wide range of lifestyle, but budget needs as well. Now, as an audiologist, I recommend to all of my patients you go with the highest level of technology that you feel comfortable with in terms of budget. That way you're able to maximize your sound quality while still being comfortable with your investment in your hearing health. Now, the ReSound Vivia was released as a receiver in the canal or behind the ear option. It's available in a rechargeable as well as a 312 and size 13 disposable battery and a rechargeable cross transmitter for those with single-sided deafness. The one thing to keep in mind with this is that the cross component is only available for use with the rechargeable RIC hearing aid. It is not compatible with the disposable battery options. So this hearing aid was only released as a behind-the-ear product. It was not released across the board into the Customs by ReSound product line. And like many ReSound products in the past, we still have a wide fitting range. We have our low power, our medium power, high power, and ultra power receivers. This is going to mean we're going to be able to fit a range from mild to profound hearing losses. Of course, when we're fitting an ultra power receiver, we always have to make sure that's an encased ear mold. Honestly, I make a lot of encased ear molds purely just because the fit is impeccable. Most patients, especially those who have ever worn an ear mold in the past, are sometimes hesitant. Now, in order to ensure you're receiving adequate power without feedback, in an ultra power receiver, you need an encased mold. And often for many patients who even need a high power receiver, I usually default to an encased mold as well. However, we still have a full range of domes to fit the ear based on your needs while also feeling comfortable. And again, Vivia can also be fit with the Marie receivers. Now, the Marie receiver is another ReSound first. They added a third microphone in the ear canal to allow for a more natural experience with sound using our pinna as well as spatial awareness. Now, of course, there's a very specific fitting range for the Marie receiver, so you'd have to talk to your audiologist or hearing healthcare provider to see if that would be an option that's available for you. Now, if we look at style options and power levels, this flexibility allows for a wide range of fitting options for those with a mild all the way to a profound hearing loss, as well as more medically complex cases like single-sided deafness or asymmetrical hearing losses. All right, next up, size and comfort. Now, I think this is one of the areas where ReSound, but also this hearing aid, excels. The ReSound Vivia is compact, it's discreet, probably the smallest rechargeable hearing aid available on the market. It's lightweight and comfortable, allowing for all-day wear. We still have a wide range of domes as well as custom tips to ensure that your hearing aid is fitting comfortably in your ear. But it also sits behind and lower on the ear to feel more comfortable. In the past, hearing aids would sit slightly higher or they would be more curved and hug the whole ear. Whereas now, with the straight back, we're sitting a little bit lower, but more comfortably. And of course, the ReSound Vivia is available in a wide range of colors. We have hair tones, we have skin tones, and of course, we have red and blue. And we think the thing sometimes people forget is your hearing aids don't have to match. You can have the same color on both ears, you can have a different color on each ear, so don't feel like you always have to match them up. One of my favorite things in clinic is when someone gets a red hearing aid for their right ear and a blue hearing aid for their left ear. On the surface, the ReSound Vivia and the ReSound Nexia almost identical in terms of body. Let's take a look. So on my right, the lighter color, I have the ReSound Vivia hearing aid. And on the left, the ReSound Nexia. And if we're looking at their shape, they're basically identical. Is a marvel. Because what we have to consider is that in the ReSound Vivia hearing aid, ReSound was able to add a secondary dedicated chip for AI. Now, on the surface, the ReSound Vivia looks oddly similar to the ReSound Nexia hearing aid. There's really not that much difference. So on my left, we have the ReSound Vivia hearing aid, and on my right, we have the ReSound Nexia hearing aid. Now, if we take a quick glance, they don't look all that much different, but that's pretty amazing considering that ReSound was able to add a secondary chip dedicated to AI processing while still keeping it the smallest hearing aid on the market. And in a minute, we'll dive into more about why that matters. Now, I will say, two of my favorite changes from the Nexia to the Vivia hearing aids are actually on this top cover. First, the indicator light when we put the hearing aid into the charger is a more vibrant green, allowing for more contrast, but easier for people to clearly see that indicator light, which we'll talk about in a minute. But by far, one of the things I love about this hearing aid, the replaceable microphone covers. In Ontario, where I work, our summers are hot and humid. And one of the things we see most commonly is that hearing aid microphones get fried with moisture. And so that means your hearing aids aren't capturing the sound, but then your hearing aids aren't also able to amplify the sound as well as they should be if your microphones are plugged. Now we have the ability to actually replace your microphone covers, which is reducing the amount of repairs that we're seeing for this product. One of the things I also like though is this faceplate is actually backwards compatible. So if you have a compatible Nexia hearing aid and we have moisture problems, you'll actually see your top cover is going to come back looking a little bit different just because that new ReSound Vivia top plate is actually being applied to your ReSound Nexia hearing aids. From a usability standpoint, the ReSound Vivia keeps it simple. On the back of the hearing aid, we have a single multi-function button. Now, what does that mean? Well, depending on how long you hold it for, and how your clinician has set up your device, it will do different things. And so we have the option for a short push, a long push, and a long hold. And these are going to be usually for things like volume control, program changes, which is important when we look at the DNN in a couple of minutes, but also activation or deactivation of streaming. So if you give the short push on the right hearing aid and it's set for volume control, you can increase the volume, and if you have your volume set on the left hearing aid, it will lower the volume. If you did a long push, you'll actually hold down the button, and we'll see that your lights are going to flash because we are going to be turning off our hearing aid. Now, if you've seen my other hearing aid review videos, you'll know that one of the things I really like about a hearing aid is when it has an indicator light on the product itself. I find it just makes turning off, turning on a product easier, but having that visual confirmation often makes users feel more confident. Now let's talk battery life and charging. ReSound has always had excellent battery life. So on a single charge, which generally takes about 3 to 4 hours, we're going to get up to 30 hours of battery life in a single charge. ReSound also has 2 types of chargers. We have our slightly smaller standard charger. This charger needs to be connected to power in order for it to function because it does not have a built-in battery bank inside of the charger. We'll also see that when we open it, it's fairly simple in terms of blue and red indicators. When you place your hearing aid in this charger, the indicator light on the back of your hearing aid is going to flash green while it's charging, and when it's solid green, your hearing aid is fully charged. So you do get that visual confirmation on the hearing aid itself. And of course, we have the premium charger, which one of the things I often find is when I'm showing patients options for hearing aids, they're often pretty impressed that this is the charger for their hearing aids. It's a sleek design, it's a great color. It uses a USB-C charging port. And one of the nice things we'll have back here, indicator lights to actually allow us to show us how much charge is in the charger itself. So this will hold up to about 3 days worth of charging once it's fully charged. We'll see that we still have the blue and the red markers on the inside of the charger, but we also have these front lights as well. Now what'll happen there is when we first put our hearing aids in the charger or take them out of the charger, these lights will illuminate to let you know how charged that device is. So in the morning when you remove your hearing aids, you should always see all 5 lights on. And at night, depending on your power output or how much you've used your hearing aids or how much you've streamed, you should still usually see about 2 or 3 of those lights on. And very similar to the standard charger, when our hearing aid is in the charger, when it's flashing green, it's charging. When it's solid green, fully charged, ready to go. I like a premium charger. It's usually my default. Here in Ontario, I'll only do a standard charger if it's necessary for a third party, but otherwise, I like to give my patients the control of being able to charge whenever they need and have a premium charger. Now, long battery life, excellent charging options. This just helps to ensure that users get full day of power out of their products. Now, we're at the part where probably most of you are here for, and that's sound quality and what's new with how the ReSound Vivia is processing sound. Because a lot of what I've shown you is very similar to the ReSound Nexia with a couple of small modifications. The DNN, or the deep neural network, is really where this hearing aid starts to excel and shine. Now let's get to the part that you're probably all here for, and that's sound quality and what sets this ReSound product apart from other manufacturers, but also previous generations of ReSound hearing aids. And that's going to be the introduction of Intelligent Focus, which is ReSound's approach to an AI. So ReSound separates processing across 2 independent chips that each have their own specific role. So we're going to see chip 1, which is our 360-degree chip. That's going to include things like environmental classification, beamforming, which ReSound's claim to this is it's one of the most narrow beamformers on the market. It's also going to include things like wind noise management, expansion, and comfort features, as well as directional microphone coordination. But then we also have a secondary DNN chip, which is dedicated exclusively to the deep neural network. And for those of you who don't know what a deep neural network is, it's basically a hearing aid's response to working as our brain would naturally. So this separation allows the hearing aid to manage environmental noise awareness while simultaneously running AI speech optimization. What does this mean in the real world? Well, when the DNN and the directional microphones work together, most users are going to usually experience about 9 to 10 decibel improvement signal to noise ratio. ReSound claims this is going to be one of the best hearing aids for noisy environments. So what is that going to mean in practical terms? That can be the difference between hearing pieces of conversation and comfortably following speech in noisy environments. Now, one of the things to note about the DNN is it's not running automatically. So it needs to be manually activated. And so what the user is going to do is you're going to switch from your all-around program, which is the default settings for ReSound hearing aids, to the Hear in Noise program. And when you do that, you're going to activate that DNN. To activate it, you can either use the push button on the back of your hearing aid, you can use the Smart 3D app to change programs, which we have a video coming on about how to use that next week, or you can use a ReSound remote control. Once the DNN is activated, it works together to prioritize speech. The big question though, how does it actually sound? I tried this for a few days. In quiet settings, it sounded clear, it sounded natural, as ReSound hearing aids have always been in the past. Voices are sounding balanced, they're sounding natural, without necessarily having that tinny or robotic quality to the sound that sometimes users report. Now, where ReSound Vivia really starts to stand out is when the background noise increases. When the DNN is engaged, or we activate our Hear in Noise program, speech becomes the focus. Competing noise, like background noise, is reduced instead of aggressively cut. In the past, with traditional hearing aids, we often found they almost put you in a tunnel where you could hear the person in front of you clearly, but all of the sounds around you are reduced. So if I'm sitting in a noisy restaurant and a waiter comes up from behind me or from my side, I would have missed that. And honestly, listening even in a noisy environment feels very natural. So that was my experience with it. Now, like I said at the start of this video, I've used ReSound a lot in the past, and I still do. And we've had the chance to fit many patients with the ReSound Vivia hearing aids. Now, of course, patients who have never worn a hearing aid before are very happy with the product. But I think the takeaway is patients who have either worn old ReSound products or other hearing aid manufacturers, they're coming into the clinic and talking about how they're able to sit in a noisy restaurant and have a conversation comfortably and clearly. They also say it feels very natural to them. I think that's a win. One of the primary complaints of anybody with a hearing loss is speech and noise. We're now at a point in time where we have products that can provide a solution to the most common hearing complaint. When background noise starts competing, the DNN pulls the focus back to speech, helping conversations sound more clear in busy places like restaurants, walking down the street. That's all amazing. I think that's a win for the ReSound Vivia hearing aid. The one drawback, it is going to use a lot of battery life. And I tell patients all the time, this is not a program that's designed to be used all the time. I want you to be in your all-around for the most part, and you're going to activate your hearing noise program as needed. So it is a little bit more taxing on your battery, but like I said, it's not designed to be used all the time. It's only available in a premium level product, and it's not available if you're only going to be fit with one device or a cross device. Now, a drawback, it's only available in a premium level or a level 9 product. This feature is not available in the 7, 5, or 4 technology levels. It's also only available with a binaural set of hearing aids, so a hearing aid in both the left and the right ear. You still have access to the Hear in Noise program, but you don't have access to the Intelligent Focus in a single hearing aid. All right, let's talk about AuraCast. And this is really where hearing aid technology is starting to move towards the future. Now, I will say, AuraCast is not new to the ReSound Vivia. ReSound actually introduced future-ready AuraCast capabilities in the ReSound Nexia hearing aid. So they just took that technology and brought it forward into their newer product. But AuraCast itself is going to be a really exciting advancement for hearing aid users. AuraCast is going to allow compatible venues, devices, and public spaces to broadcast audio directly to your hearing aids without needing extra accessories. This is going to allow you to hear clearly in a theater, never miss an airport announcement ever again, connect to a lecture or a presentation or one of those TV gyms that you can just never find the audio for. The AuraCast is going to be something that is activated using the ReSound Smart 3D app. Come back next week where we do a deep dive into the Smart 3D app and learn how to use it and harness your hearing aids, but also how to activate the AuraCast to be ready for the future. So imagine clear sounds from things like bars, airports, or the gym being sent directly to your ears, improving clarity and accessibility without needing additional accessories. Keep it in line with connectivity. Connectivity with the ReSound Vivia is excellent. And honestly, I think this is one of ReSound's strongest areas. And that makes sense. I mean, they were the first manufacturer to work directly with Apple to develop the ability to stream to our devices. With ReSound Vivia, you're going to get direct audio streaming from Apple iOS devices, as well as hands-free calling using the push button and streaming music, podcasts, Instagram, Facebook, all directly from your phone or your tablet into your hearing aids. And of course, connectivity allows you to use the Smart 3D app as well as the Tinnitus Relief app. The thing I also love, we have new accessories. We have the TV Streamer Plus, as well as the Multi-Mic Plus. These accessories are smaller, but also more powerful than ever. This allows users to connect directly from their TV and stream the audio into their hearing aids. The thing I love most about the TV Streamer Plus is the auto stream feature. One of the difficulties with hearing aid accessories in the past was always patients remembering to activate the streamer. When you're sitting down and watching TV at the end of the day, sometimes you just want to sit and relax without thinking about having to turn on your TV streamer. Auto stream function is excellent because as soon as you turn on your TV, it is going to connect it directly to your hearing aids without you having to do a thing. So when we look at AuraCast, connectivity, multi-mic, TV accessories, ReSound connectivity, it's strong and it allows people to connect easily and feel comfortable. Now my thoughts, I don't have much critique. I would love to see this technology carried across a full family line of products, including extending into the Customs by ReSound product line. And of course, as technology grows, I would love to see some of those DNN features that need to be manually activated become more of an automatic transition, where when the hearing aid sense somebody's in a more challenging environment, that DNN chip is kicking on in the background. I don't have much cons. I'm going to give this probably a 9.75 out of 10, and that's purely just because it's not in a full family of products. There's always room for improvement. Thanks for watching today's video. If you're considering a ReSound hearing aid or any hearing aid in general, drop a comment below and I'll make sure to get back to you. And as always, don't forget to like, subscribe to our channel, and share it with anybody who you think can be helped with our videos. We'll cut through the noise and we'll see you in the next one.